Hey guys, Mike here. Just wanted to jump on and let you guys know that the audio in this episode isn't going to be that crash hot. I recorded the whole episode and realized that I didn't have my main microphone turned on, so you're going to be listening to the audio coming through the camera on this episode. I was about to throw the episode away, but I thought the content was more important than the audio quality, and I hope you guys do appreciate this episode regardless and the things that I was talking about in this episode. It's a bit of a shame that the audio isn't going to be as great on this episode, but I do think the content is worth it, and I hope you guys do still stick around and have a listen to the whole episode. It's a bit of a shorter one, so it won't be that long. Hopefully it's not that hard to listen to, but as I said, the audio is not going to be great, but I do appreciate you guys being here and listening to the episode. But now I'm going to throw over to the episode that I previously recorded. Here we go. And we are live. G'day everyone, Mike Jeffrey here, and you are listening to My Creative Journey, episode number 43. To all your listeners out there, hello, and thank you so much for taking the time to stop by here today. As I said, my name is Mike, and I'm a photographer, podcaster, and small business owner based here in Port Macquarie, Australia. Each week on the show, I bring you guys along on the highs and lows of my own creative journey and share all the knowledge that I've gained along the road to building my own freelance business. In this week's episode, we're talking about doing the work that you love and how to charge for work that you really enjoy having to do or really being able to do. So that is what we're going to be jumping in today, something that I've been struggling with a lot over the past couple of weeks, but it's been something that I've been struggling with through my whole career is trying to understand how to charge for work that you really enjoy and that work that you would probably otherwise do for free. So that is what we're going to be jumping into today. But I wanted to talk about where we've been for the past couple of weeks because I haven't released an episode in a couple of weeks now, and that is because I have moved. I spoke about that in the last episode that I released, that I was moving, and over the past couple of weeks that has all happened, and we're in the new space now, new wall behind me, a bit darker than the one before. If you can hear it at the moment, it's a bit echoey in this room at the moment. Haven't actually put all that much in the room to really soundproof it, so hopefully we'll get a bit more things in the room over the next couple of weeks and hopefully have it sounding a lot nicer in the weeks to come. But have been trying to improve the surroundings, trying to get it a bit up and running. But I tried to record an episode last week and it was just really strange for me. I'd had a week off. I released an episode 2 weeks ago, but I recorded that one 3 weeks ago, so I haven't recorded one for 3 weeks. I tried to record one last week, and it just really was a real struggle for me. I really sat down, and I was here for half an hour trying to start the recording and really couldn't get anything that I wanted to say, anything productive out. I didn't really know what to talk about. I knew the aims that I wanted to talk about, but it's amazing how taking that couple of weeks break can really impact the flow and impact your productivity and how much of that momentum you were on before. The ease of being able to create episodes beforehand, I thought, was starting to get into a groove where it was pretty easy for me to come sit down here and record episodes. I knew what I wanted to talk about and put a lot of work into the behind the scenes of actually trying to understand what the things were I wanted to talk about in that episode. But it was striking to me when I came and sat down that it was a lot harder than I thought it would be, and that was a real smack in the face, really, to say that when you take time away from something, it is going to be really hard to restart. And that is why the idea of a routine and trying to stay structured about the things that you do on a daily and a weekly basis, keeping that consistency up is very important, because once you break that, once you get out of that swing, it can be very hard to sit down. And I've been trying to sort of build myself up all morning to record this episode, and we are here now, so hopefully this episode will be good. It's going to be a little bit of a sort of roll to get me back into the swing of it. Hopefully we can continue to roll on through the next couple of weeks into the end of the year from here. But this one probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode to try and get me back into the swing, and hopefully a couple more episodes coming in the next couple of weeks will have a bit more in them. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about in this week's episode was that we passed 500 downloads on the podcast between the last episode being released and between recording this one, which is very exciting news to have passed 500 downloads before the end of the year. I thought that was going to be something that I was aiming for towards the end of the year, probably early next year. But to have already hit that after about 42 episodes is amazing, and amazing to see the support out there and people tuning into every episode on a sort of weekly basis. And I get messages from people who are saying that they've been listening to every single episode. And it's amazing to actually think that people would have my podcast as part of their routine and be able to sit down and actually listen to an episode, whether that be actively listening or just having it on in the background. But the fact that the people are still thinking about turning on episodes every single week really means a lot to me. And the fact that they're not just tuning in for a random episode because they've heard it's good, they're actually coming back and they're continually listening to episodes because they know that the content is something that they want to hear about. And that makes me really proud to think that I've produced something that people would really like to return to on a weekly basis. And that is really nice to have hit that 500 download mark. And that is, of course, only on the audio-only version. So anyone who's actually watching the video version, those stats don't get included in that audio version. So we've had a lot of other people joining in on YouTube as well. Hello, if you're actually out there, you're watching the video version of this podcast. There's not too many of you, but I know there are a few who do like to watch the episodes on YouTube. And to you guys, I probably have to just apologize a little bit, because I realized late last week that I hadn't actually uploaded the last 2 episodes that I recorded onto YouTube. I'd uploaded them, the audio versions, onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts and things like that, but I hadn't uploaded them on YouTube. So if you have been watching along on the video episodes, you would have actually missed the last couple of episodes when they did come out. I don't know if you did end up going and having listened to them on the audio version, but I have uploaded them now. So hopefully if you guys haven't listened to those last 2 episodes or haven't even watched those last 2, go back and watch those, because I really enjoyed recording episode number 41 especially. I got a good amount of feedback on episode 41 about why adults don't have heroes, and that was something that I was thinking about and something that I really wanted to speak about and give my own 2 cents on, because I thought it was a very important point, and it really did hit me when I heard it. And so I thought that it would be great to actually record an episode about that, and be getting a lot of feedback, a lot of people saying about how much they think that is true. So if you haven't actually tuned into that episode, I would really appreciate it if you go back and have a listen to that one, because I think it is very much worth your time. And so with that out of the way, I really want to jump into today's episode. I don't want to spend too much time in the intro. I really want to jump into some of the things that I've just really wanted to speak on today. And as I said, the episode's probably not going to be the longest episode I've ever recorded, but this is just me trying to get some of my thoughts out and trying to explain a few of the things that I've been going through recently, and trying to have them out there so that I have them as a record, and I think other people can really benefit from this stuff as well, because it can often be daunting when you're thinking that you are experiencing something in isolation, when I don't think that's always the case. I think there are a lot of people out there experiencing these types of things, but don't often speak about them and don't often talk about the things that is they are actually going through on a daily basis or on a weekly basis in their own work. A lot of people don't tend to speak about the smaller parts and the things that they don't think are as necessarily as interesting. So I really want to touch on some of those today, and some of the things that have been really catching me over the past couple of weeks. And a few of the things that I don't want to say have been stressing me out, but I think are definitely things that I didn't really want to have to deal with, but are things that I do have to deal with at the end of the day, and something that I really have to speak about. And for me, one of the really big challenges in starting my own business was working out how to charge for my work. This has always been something that I've struggled with throughout the whole course of my career. I've spoken about this on a couple of episodes of the podcast before, about how to charge for your work, because that to me is one of those things where I can really struggle with. I can really become unsure of how to charge for work and how to charge for different types of services, where to price those services as well. I've made a whole episode on how to price work and really how I started in my career in pricing work below where I thought it was at, because I was obviously trying to enter a market, so charging a bit below the market to try and enter it and try to be able to gain experience, but then also moving through and how to increase your prices. And that's been something that I've been trying to do actively, is increase my prices as my experience increases as well, and trying to gain that. But just as a whole, I think the act of actually charging for work has been something that I've really struggled with, because for me, unlike a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people that I speak to are happy to charge for work, or happy to work in a job where they get paid a certain amount of money, because they are happily to exchange their time for that amount of money. Whereas for me, I would happily work for free. And this is something that I come back on a lot, in the fact that I enjoy the work that I do. I really enjoy the work that I do. And at the moment, I'd be happy to go out and work for free a lot of the time. I think that has a little bit to do with the fact that I'm not swamped and not overworked. I haven't yet hit a point where I'm overworked and so each job has to be worth more than the last job. In me being able to accept a new job, it has to be worth more than the last job. I haven't really hit that point yet that I'm overrun and need to be able to have to be able to differentiate between different types of work. I haven't hit that point yet. Being able to think that I need to charge for work in order to differentiate who I actually work with at the moment. For me, I'd be happy to go out there and do almost any work. And I've spoken before, and I know for myself that there are particular styles of photography that I would charge more for because I don't particularly enjoy those styles of photography, but I've sort of moved away from them. I don't really want to position myself in that field because I don't enjoy it. So that has never been something for me to position myself into a particular style that I don't enjoy and therefore charge more for it because I don't enjoy it so that I can earn more money from it. I don't really want to do that. That has never been something that has been an aspiration in my career, to be able to do something that I don't enjoy so then I feel more comfortable charging for the work that I don't enjoy, because inherently just charging for work I don't enjoy, if I'm not enjoying the work, I'm not going to be enjoying the career itself. And that's going to be very hard to sustain in the long term. I may be earning a decent amount of money from that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to enjoy the work because I'm earning more money. That has never been something that's come across my radar as being something that I really want to do. So I've been really conscious in trying to target work that I enjoy. And I enjoy being out there and shooting weddings and working with different types of couples and working with people on that intimate basis and taking those photos that I've really enjoyed over the years. And that has been something that has given me so much fulfillment that I feel almost wrong charging for that work. That is something that I really enjoy and really get a lot out of in being able to interact with other people, being able to make those memories, being able to capture those moments, all that kind of stuff. Being out there, I really, really enjoyed that. So then coming back and trying to then put a price on that and trying to say to someone, well, you should pay me to do something that I really enjoy is very hard when that is a service that I would love to provide for free. And this has been something that I have been struggling with a lot recently in trying to price work to people when I could sit back and say to them, who cares about the money? I just would really love to do this work for you because I would love to give that gift to someone else because that's how much it means to me and that's how much I think it is worth being able to give that to someone else. And so being able to put a price on that has been very tough. And I don't want that to come across as me thinking that I'm sort of above other people and thinking that I don't need to charge for the work. I just want to do this all for the love of the work, because at the end of the day, we still have to make a bit of money in it. And I'm very realistic in that fact that if I want this to be a sustainable business, if I want this to be a sustainable career, then I need to make some money in it, and I need to have some sort of sustainability in an amount of income that I'm earning every single year. So that cannot be something that I'm just fluctuating on and always working for free in those areas. It's also the same for me, I think, in my landscape photography. That has always been something that I've done sort of as a hobby on the side, but I do sort of charge for that work now as I sort of aim more into my prints and into other things and into that sort of hard media that I'm trying to produce there and that artwork that I'm trying to produce. And that has always been something that I really enjoy, that is sort of not something that I do primarily in my business. My business is mainly wedding and couples photography, but I do delve into a bit of landscape photography on the side as well. And that's something that I do because I really enjoy that. And I like having that other avenue of things that I can work on. So then again, how do we charge for that? How do we put a price on that work that I really enjoy and that I really would just create because I'm already out there creating it. So if I'm not making any money on that, I don't really care. So any money that I make is amazing, but I don't really want to charge people for that work because I think, well, wow, that work is something that I really enjoy having to do, or not even having to do. It's something that I'm able to do, and I'm glad that I'm able to go and do that work. So anything that, as long as I'm breaking even on that, I don't really care. So that has been sort of something that has been a little easier, I guess, in the way of over the past couple of years. Charging for prints of my work is easier to charge for a print because you know how much it actually costs to get that printed. So at least if you're able to make that amount of money back and able to break even in that sense, I guess that is a little bit easier to charge a small amount, but I don't want to charge a massive premium on that because it's very hard and something that I've definitely struggled with. And I know other people struggle to be able to put prices on this kind of work, on this kind of artistic career where you do things because you really enjoy them, and then being able to price them afterwards and say, this is how much it's worth, especially when you're targeting a small audience of people, and especially when it's starting out to be people who are closer to you. It's really hard to charge a premium on that and say that this is worth X amount of money and price a lot of people out of the market, when I would love for everyone to own a piece of my artwork because I just think it's amazing and I really enjoy it. So I'd love to give that to other people as well, and that has been really hard for me to get over that hurdle of being able to charge for work. I've shot 2 weddings already this year for free. I shot 2 couple sessions for free as well, just to get me a bit of experience, but also to give the other guys, be able to give them a service that they wouldn't not have been able to afford otherwise. And that really, I really enjoy that I'm able to give back in that way, but also that I was able to gain experience out of that. That's amazing as well to me and something that I would do. But as I start to increase my prices, it's something that I think about, how much do I then charge for work? How do I sustain myself? How much do I need to charge? And for me, working for free is great, but I do understand that I need to be able to pay the bills. I do understand that in order to be able to give people a service, in order to be able to provide as much value as I possibly can to the couples that I work with, then I need to be earning a certain amount of money, because the stress that comes along with not earning money is worse, and you will not be able to sustain yourself in business. I can't promise someone that I'm going to turn up at their wedding in 18 months, 2 years' time, if I'm not earning enough money in that time that I won't be out of business by that time. So I need to be able to be sustainable in order to think that it's realistic for me to book clients in the future. I cannot be sitting here stressed out that I'm not going to earn enough money in the next 2 years and that I'm not going to be able to survive in business. So these are things that I have to think about, that the more I can charge people, the more value that I can then provide that person, because it then frees me up more time. It frees me up to be able to do other things. It frees me up to be able to outsource things that I previously wouldn't have enjoyed having to do. There's a large portion of the work that I do that I really love, but there's also work that I don't particularly enjoy, admin work, other tasks that I don't particularly enjoy, and we've spoken about this before. Charging more, I would then have more money to be able to outsource those different types of things. So I've got to think about it in that sense, that if I'm able to place a value on how much that would cost to outsource, well, then there's an amount already that I am able to charge, and that I shouldn't feel bad for charging that, because it's going to go directly to outsourcing work that I previously wasn't enjoying, so that I then can provide more value, because I'll have more time to work with clients and work directly with them to be able to provide them as much value on the day, but also before and after, and work with them and answer their emails and actually speak to them and hear about their story and hear what they want. Because the best way that I can provide for clients is actually to be there for them. If I'm always editing photos, if I'm always in admin work, if I'm always working on my finances, I can't be there personally for them. I can't be researching. I can't be doing the work that they want me to do before the day, on the day, and after the day. I can't be there for them in that sense. So being able to free myself up in that way and being able to provide more value only comes through being able to charge more and then outsourcing that little bit of work. It was interesting, this morning I was driving home from downtown, and I was driving past a car dealership. Now, this was interesting. It's a little bit of a side story, but I was driving past the car dealership and I saw two people mowing the lawn out the front of the car dealership. Now, when I drove past, I initially thought that why would the owner of the car dealership, so this was about 9:15 in the morning, so they were obviously open. The car dealership was open. And I was like, why would the owner of that car dealership be out the front and mowing his lawn when he's open in the morning? Like, why would that be one of the first things he chooses to do in the morning? But then as I drove past, obviously he had outsourced that work to other people, and that was actually someone else's business there to mow that lawn, as I saw their car and their trucks parked out the front with their lawn mowing equipment and that sort of stuff. And I was thinking to myself, where was my head at to think that he would have been the person actually mowing the lawn out the front? Because to me, in my business, that's always been something that I've done. Any small task that needs to get done, I'd be the one who would have to do that working alone here. I would never even think about outsourcing that, because then that would be an expense that I wouldn't be then having to account for. But obviously he can then charge a premium on his service, because he has freed himself up in the time that he's able to spend with his clients and his customers, that if they were able to walk through the door, he's not out the front and mowing his lawns. He's in the office. He's ready to go. He doesn't need to be away. He's always there for someone. So in that sense, it really took me back to thinking that maybe I should be able to charge a bit more, to then outsource, to then provide my clients more services, more value to them, and being there for them when they email me or when they do call me, being able to answer the phone because I'm not too busy working on other things all the time. And that has been one of the things that I've been trying to incorporate in my own business, in that way of thinking that the more I have to be able to charge a certain amount of money in order to provide that value. I can't provide value if I'm out of business, and I will end up out of business if you're never charging money for any of your services. And then the last point that I really want to jump into is something that came up over the last couple of weeks. Now, over the past couple of years, I've been doing a bit of work for family and friends. As you know, that's probably one of the easiest ways to start in business, is to be able to work for family and friends. And I think that has been very rewarding for me. I made an episode on that, I think episode 24, about how you should be working with family and friends, how people can often steer away from working with friends, and they think that they don't really want to do business with friends. Of course, I don't want to make my whole income off my family and friends. That's never been something that I really want to do, and that's something that I do struggle with because I never want to make my income off family and friends because that's never going to be sustainable. But I think in the beginning, to be able to get my portfolio out, to be able to get experience, I think that's a great way to start, because a biggest part in the start is being able to have trust and being able to be assured of the work. If you don't have portfolio, no one's going to trust you to be able to do work for them because they've never seen anything that you've done before. So being able to show them work that you've done before is very important. And sometimes working with friends and family is the way that you build that portfolio, because they, I would hope would inherently trust you with the work because they've spoken to you and they know who you are. They're not just a random person who's met you online through your website or something like that. So they inherently trust you, and therefore you're able to do more work for them. But for me, one of the hardest parts in that has been trying to actually charge for that work. How do I go to them and say, here's a price for the work? Obviously, depends on who they are, depends if it's a product or a service as well. I'm more happy to give a service for free than a product for free, because I know there's a little bit more money that goes into actually selling a product than a service. If I can provide a service to someone for free and all it costs is my time, well, I'm normally happy to give that, because that is something that I'm exchanging my time for their actual time in being able to provide me that sort of service. So that what I'm gaining from that is experience, and what I'm gaining is portfolio. So that I don't need any monetary sort of value in that. But up to a point, it comes to a point where I need to be able to start charging for that work, because to sustain me in my business longer term, after the first initial few, I can't be able to do work for free. So then how do I come with a price that is sustainable for me, but also not exuberant amount, because I never want to be able to make money off family and friends. I would never charge them the same amount that I would charge anyone else, because I'm trying to do them a service, and they've obviously come to me and actually trusted me in the early stages of my business. I'm obviously not charging exuberant amounts as it is at the moment anyway, but how do I then come at a price like that when I would work for free? How do I sit down and say to someone, here's how much I'm worth. I would happily work for free, but if you would like to pay me, here's an amount. There's no sort of your middle ground there, and that is something that I struggle with a lot, because that scale really varies a lot in being able to think that I'm worth a certain amount, but I'm also happy to do that work for free. And I need to be strong with my conviction to say that here's how much I'm worth. I know I'd work for free, but that's part of me being in a career that I do something that I really enjoy. If other people are working out there in careers that they don't enjoy, of course they're not going to work for free because they don't enjoy it. So that's a luxury that I have in the career that I've chosen, being something that I really enjoy, and I shouldn't take that for granted. I should really accept that, but also understand that it's okay to charge for work, and something that I've been struggling with a lot recently, and I thought that I would really speak about, because I think other people would struggle with this, and I really haven't come to terms with it as much yet as I probably should be, and I'm trying to increase prices and trying to be able to be more confident in the work that I do, and I know that I provide a good service, but being able to be confident in charging for that service equally in the amount of value that I'm able to provide, and hopefully increasing the value that I can provide as I increase my prices, because I have more time, because I know that there's more certainty, because I'm not stressed in other areas, because, as I said at the start, I'm not having to go and chase work that I don't particularly enjoy to then charge for it. I can just work in the area that I really enjoy and charge an appropriate price for that, and be able to be sustainable in that to then provide a greater service, because I'm not too busy off on the side chasing other work. So that is what I wanted to talk about today, guys. I hope you did enjoy this episode. I hope you gained a little bit from this rant of mine. I've been sort of speaking here for half an hour now, and thought that was really something that I've been really thinking about over this past week, and I really wanted to get that out. And it was something that I wanted to speak about last week, and I didn't quite know how to put it into words, and so I'm glad that I got this episode out. If you did enjoy this episode, guys, I would really appreciate it. If you did send me a message, I've been hearing from a lot of different people who have been listening to the podcast. So as I say, it's hard to know who's listening on the other end of these podcasts. So if you are listening, and if you have been enjoying the recent episodes of this podcast, I would really appreciate it. I'm hoping to continue on with this podcast. I've been really enjoying them, and so I hope you guys have been enjoying them too. And I'd love to hear from you guys about the particular things that you are enjoying, because, as I said, I'm trying to create these episodes to be more in line with the values that I really want to bring on this podcast. And also, if you're over on YouTube watching this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. There have been a few people who have been watching episodes of the podcast. And I would love to know who you guys are, but I would love it also to have a few subscribers. That is one way you can support the podcast. That is absolutely free. Subscribing to the YouTube channel. If you guys are here listening to the audio version and you want to go subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, you can have a look at how stupid I look on camera as well at the moment. So that is amazing as well. And I really appreciate all you guys who are on there, because you guys obviously make up the other proportion of people who have been actually watching my podcast. And to think that anyone would sit down and actually watch an episode of this podcast is amazing to me, because normally I listen to podcasts in the background, but to sit down and watch a podcast is on a whole another level. So I really do appreciate you guys. And with that said, I hope you guys all have a great week. I think I'll be back a bit later in this week, but can't be guaranteed on that one, but we will have a new episode coming out again soon. Really appreciate all you guys, and I hope you have a great week, and I will speak to you all again next Monday. Bye.